Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be all about Durham University. So if you're about to start studying and living at Durham, then this is exactly the video that you need to see, because I'm going to be talking about college life, societies, friendships, bars, clubs, everything that you need to possibly know. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to give this a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. And without further ado, let's get on with the rest of the video. The first thing that we're going to be talking about are the colleges. There are sort of like two different groups of colleges that makes absolutely no difference. Everyone mingles in their lectures and stuff, but it's just to do with the locations within the city centre. So there are the Hill colleges and then there are the Bailey colleges. The Hill colleges are the colleges that you would see as you're kind of entering the city, whereas the Bailey colleges are the ones that are sort of around the cathedral. The Hill colleges include St Aidan's College, St Mary's College, Trevelyan College, and the Bailey colleges include like Hatfield, Castle, St Chad's, and so on. I'm going to do a huge blog post with absolutely everything linked, just in case I miss a single like college or club or whatever, and I'm going to have that linked in the description box down below. And I'm also going to paste some of that in the description box without you having to click on the blog link, but I'm going to have a blog link. So if you want to know every single one, then that's going to be down there. There are stereotypes about each college, but some of the stereotypes are actually really good and true. Some of those stereotypes include Trevelyan College being a very friendly college. I agree with that. I think that is true. I think that's something to do with the stereotype, and then everyone who goes there just is very friendly. Chad's is also a lovely college. I think that's also particularly friendly. It's a very small college. Another good stereotype, I think, is that Hillbead is supposedly theatrical. So if you want to do theatre, then supposedly if you go there, then they have a good theatre scene, but every college has its own theatre scene and so on. So I would say that don't be worried about if you don't get the college that you applied to, because even if you aren't like super close with people at your college, you're going to make friends with people on your course and the societies that you go to. If you're thinking about like, how am I going to make these friends? It's probably good if you've like seen them somewhere like at your college or like on your course, and then you see them, for example, at like a society event, and then it's like week 1, week 2, no one knows anyone, and you can be like, do I know you from Mary's? And they'll be like, oh my god, yes. And then that's how you kind of make these initial connections. At your college, you might be self-catered or catered for, depending on which college that you go to. So you'll know whether or not you're going to be buying your own food or if that's like part of your fee. And each college also has their own kind of society life. Like even if there's like intercollegiate societies, like big dance societies and so on, there's also going to be little ones within your college if you don't want to like step out into like a bigger group of people just yet. Although I highly suggest that you do that. Everyone's new, everyone wants to meet everyone and make loads of friends. So don't be shy, be super confident, and you're going to have an amazing time. Another very famous part of college life are the formals, because not every university has something like a formal dinner or formal celebration, so it does make Durham different to a lot of other universities. And a lot of people seem to talk about the gowns that we wear a lot as well, because like obviously that isn't a typical thing to do. That's very, very traditional and oldie worldy. But it is a great part of college life. So depending on which college you go to, you'll still have formals regardless of which one, but not every college has to wear gowns, although you can buy a gown and wear it if you choose to anyway. And also you can go to different colleges' formals if you have like a friend at that college, or if your society is like booked like to go to a formal. The formals often have themes as well. So like there might be like a Halloween formal, or there's a Christmas formal, and they have like little traditions that happen there as well, like singing in like your tables, like standing up and like shouting, that kind of thing. But you will learn more about that from like your college parents. The food is great, and I highly recommend that you go to at least one formal. You can go to the one at your college because that's probably where you might make initial friends, but of course you could ask your friends at other colleges and be like, oh my god, do you want to like come to my formal, or should I go to your formal this month, and then like next term we can go to this one with this person. I'd highly recommend that you just like go to as many events as possible, because you know this is kind of a once in a lifetime kind of experience, and I would just highly recommend that you make the absolute most of it. There are also so many events that aren't just at your college. They can be like intercollegiate events, and these include things like fashion shows and so on. I did so many fashion shows during my undergraduate years, including like different colleges, because I was doing dance, and that meant that, and I was also like the sort of like events manager for the societies that I was at, and that meant that I was the one who was like organizing them. So I ended up doing like 13 fashion shows or something like a very big number like that. I would highly recommend that you get involved, even if it's just like a small role. It doesn't have to be modeling, it doesn't have to be performing, especially if you're more of like an introverted type of person, but there are roles like marketing or sponsorship and so on. And I would just recommend just doing that, especially because the fashion shows sort of take up like only a few months. It's not like the whole year that you're going to be like planning. It's not like being a JCR president or working at an MCR or something. You can also obviously go to them as well as like being involved with them. You can just go to them, watch them, hang out with your friends, go to different colleges ones. Different societies also started to do them when I was at Durham, especially the ones that were like prevalent in my mind, like the African Caribbean Society. They had like really great ones. They were really fun to do. And of course that kind of leads on to like clubs and bars and stuff, because after each fashion show there would tend to be like a club event. I know that things are different this year, and that's probably a big thing that people want to talk about. So club life, I don't know if people are going to be clubbing. I don't really recommend that people go clubbing, and I also don't think that you're missing out on that much if you aren't clubbing during like your freshers year, because it's going to be pretty ratchet. They don't tend to be like the most gorgeous places in the world. As you may know, Clute is literally like the worst club in Europe, so it's not like you're missing anything that's like really, really good. But you will be able to go to places like bars. You might have events at bars, not just society events like dance society meetups at like a bar, but also things like law events or banking and finance events. These will often happen in like bars or like a tapas place or places like that. So you're going to mingle regardless. I mean, you're going to uni, it's not like you're going to be completely isolated. Hopefully there won't be like a continuous rise in this horrible thing that has happened this year. So I'm sure that you'll be able to go to bars, even if it's just with people who live on your corridor. You want to keep in like this sort of small concentrated group of people. That's absolutely fine. And there are so many great bars in Durham. Like I've probably been to many of them. Although there are actually quite a lot of new ones that have just been built. And they all look great. I haven't been to them because I've been, you know, isolated for like the past 6 months, just because I'm very scared. But there are some great bars, including, they're all over the city, but there are some that are like in groups. I guess because Durham is quite a small place, they're like literally everywhere. Including bars like Whiskey River, and then opposite that is the Bow Club, which has like a nice terrace thing over the overlooking the river. There's also lots of gin bars. Tin of Sardines Gin Bar is like the smallest gin bar in Durham, and there's other places as well like Old Tom's and so on, all absolutely gorgeous. I highly recommend going to as many as possible. Even if you don't drink, you can have like a non-alcoholic drink, obviously. They have a great ambience, and they often have like great music, and you can also meet new people in them as well. Of course, there aren't just bars and restaurants and so on in Durham, although there are a lot of those, and as I said, I highly recommend that you go to as many as possible, but there are obviously shops. Some of the most standout shops in my mind are places like Waterstones. There's a Durham University Waterstones as well, which sells like Durham merch and I guess like more like textbooky type books. I love every kind of Waterstones. I highly recommend that you go in them and check them out. There's obviously places like Ryman's and Paper Chase that sell like stationery goods. There are clothes shops like Next. There's a huge Next there. As I said, Durham is quite small, but don't worry about that because Newcastle is literally a 10-minute train ride away, and that has like a lot more shops as well. Although I think that all the shops that are in Durham are great shops, and that is especially importantly the Tesco Metro, which is a small Tesco, but I mean in terms of Durham it's actually quite big, and it's probably, especially if you're self-catered, a place where you're going to be buying most of your foodstuffs from, although there is like a tiny Sainsbury's as well, just like on the top of North Road, and there is a giant Sainsbury's, and I will link all these places in the blog post down below, so don't worry about that. Also, there are loads of gyms in Durham. The massive one is Freeman's Quay, and then the university one is at Maiden Castle, which is where a lot of sport events, like university sport events, happen as well, but that gym is very small that I remember. So if you want to go to a big one and not just be with university people, then Freeman's Quay is probably the best gym to go to, but there are also smaller ones, like there's one at the top of North Road, above the Santander, there is one, and then there are also the college ones that you can go to as well. Although I'm not actually sure if every college has a gym, and they might be very, very small. So if you really want to have like gym life, then you're probably going to need to buy a membership to one that's just like in town. As I said, Freeman's Quay is massive. Main Castle is the university one, but that's small. You can probably check them out before you buy your membership, so I recommend doing that. And now, a very university topic, the lectures themselves. There are lectures and seminars when you're at Durham. So, for example, I studied English literature. We had English literature lectures, and then we had seminars, which are smaller groups of people discussing more like specific topics. And you probably will get like work to do before each one. So, for example, you might be asked to read like 2 books or 1 book, and then like look at it from a certain critical perspective, and then be in the seminar you'll be asked to like engage on these topics. Your seminar groups are also probably the places that you'll be writing your formative essays for. That seminar leader is the person that'll be marking your formative essays, and then formative essays are like the essays that don't get graded. And then you'll be writing your summative essays that will get graded, probably on the texts that you studied in your seminar groups. Seminar groups are where you study more concentratedly on the things that have been discussed in your lectures. If you aren't like registered, like if you don't have like a register for your lectures, technically I guess that means you don't have to go, but I don't know why you would miss a lecture that you paid a lot of money for. So I'd highly recommend going to all of your lectures, even if you haven't read the book, for example. This is just like an English example, but if you haven't read the book, still go to it, write down the notes, even if they don't make so much sense to you. Ask a friend for help if you can. Obviously you can email the lecturers, hopefully they'll email you back. But yeah, that's kind of the whole lecture situation. There are some great modules that you can take at Durham, and some really fun ones. For example, when I was there, I think it was in my second year, I did a module that was all about like Harry Potter and like philosophical approaches to Harry Potter. For example, if you're doing like a science, or if you're doing like economics or something, you can probably still take like one module in like a language, or in something that's really like niche, but you just want to learn about it because you don't want to do like 6 banking modules. And finally, friendships and relationships are a huge part of your life at Durham. The people that you become friends with don't have to be from your college, so don't worry if you're not like super interested in everyone who's at your college. As I said at the start of the video, a great way to make friends is if you see them in a class, or you've seen them like around your college, and then you see them at a society event, which is like a specific thing that you're interested in. Societies include things from like dancing to cricket to netball to creative writing. There's also things like LARP and GameSoc, and like there's like even things like Lord of the Rings societies, there's like sci-fi societies and so on. So whatever you're interested in, there will be something for you. There are society events wherein you can like go around the GSU, which is the Students' Union, or maybe Main Castle. They might have like society events in there as well, like at the start of term, which is where you will go around, for example, the Students' Union, and you will look at each stall which has the society on it. You can pick up a leaflet, or you can take a picture of it on your phone and be like, okay, they have something happening on Friday afternoon. I don't have anything at Friday afternoon. I'm going to go and see what it's like before I buy memberships. Some of them are free. And it's just a great way to fill up your time, meet new people, have interesting discussions. So that is a great way to meet some good friends. Also relationships, there's a crazy statistic, which is basically like 70 to 80% of Durham graduates end up like marrying another Durham graduate, which I think it's that, and I think it's true, which is crazy. So if you're at Durham and you do like someone, then of course like follow your heart if you want to. But I'd also say that we're all very young, and I've known a lot of people be in relationships at Durham, like serious relationships. This isn't like a fling kind of thing, although those happen as well. Don't know if you'd want to do that in the age of Corona. Don't know if you'd want to do that ever. I definitely wouldn't. However, people who've had like serious relationships, when they're like going into a new year, or when term is ending, or when they're graduating, a lot of the time those things do end because people are going on like a different path and they kind of want to find themselves or something. So I would say don't get bogged down in relationships. It's probably way more important to like find some great friends, make some great connections, enjoy your time whilst you're there for yourself. I wouldn't get too hung up on dating and so on. Of course, you can do it as safely as possible, but just keep in mind that everyone has like their own agenda, and you don't want to like get heartbroken, basically is what I'm saying. So just like look out for yourself, stay safe, you're going to have an absolutely amazing time. So that is it. I'm going to, as I said before, put a blog post down below full of like everything, all the cafes, all the bars, all the restaurants, all the clubs that I can think of, all the colleges, and also if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content, and subscribe down below if you are new here. And if you have any questions, let me know. You can let me know over on Instagram as well. I'll put that on the screen here and in the description box down below. I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I can't wait to see you very, very soon in my next video. Bye!